We're here at Y Combinator for an interview with Jeff Ralston. Jeff, thank you very much for making time for this interview. Jeff is an INSEAD alumnus from '92.
Yep.
Jeff, what's the value of incubators or accelerators in the greater entrepreneurial ecosystem?
Yeah, maybe it's worthwhile just to differentiate a little bit between an incubator and an accelerator. An incubator is typically thought of where you bring the little chicks in, the little startup chicks, and you keep them with you. So you house them, you have an office space, and you bring them all together, and so you help them grow all together. The differentiation that we usually think of with an accelerator is we don't actually bring them in-house. They don't have office space with us. When we fund companies, they have to find their own place. They come and they work with us. They do office hours with us. We have weekly meetings, but we specifically don't bring them all together to grow their companies together. We think that's a bad idea. What the idea of an incubator started with originally was to fund a whole bunch of companies all at the same time with a standard set of documents. Very different from how VCs would typically fund companies. One at a time, everyone would be a special deal, you get lawyers involved, you spend tens of thousands of dollars on that particular deal, you negotiate for weeks or months. Forget all that. You apply to Y Combinator, you get in, standard set of documents, done in a day, and we've invested, we have some of your equity, and you have the experience of going through the Y Combinator batch. You get associated with our brand, which originally didn't mean much, but now hopefully signifies quality, which is an incredibly important signal for venture capitalists, which thus makes it somewhat easier to raise money as a Y Combinator company. You have access to a network of entrepreneurs and founders that's unparalleled. But even more to the point, when you're part of a Y Combinator batch, you have a built-in community that actually sometimes is your customer. Imagine if you're selling enterprise software. The best example of this is Stripe, which is a well-known payments company. When Patrick and John Collison were in YC, they would go up to other YC founders and sort of say, hey, you guys gonna do payments? And if the answer was yes, they just sat right down and implemented it for them right there. I think what we do, the effect, the impact that we have is to enable more innovation. Companies that normally would have no chance of succeeding, of getting to the first stage of their company creation, wouldn't be there without companies like Y Combinator. You can look at lots of examples. Airbnb would not have been around. And Brian Chesky will tell you this if Y Combinator didn't fund them in 2007. We also play a really critical role for venture capitalists. As I said before, we're a quality signal. So we're a shortcut. People come to Y Combinator demo day, so they don't have to go out and search for the quality companies.
Sure. So Y Combinator launched, and you were instrumental in that, Startup School.
Sam Altman launched Startup School in 2017, and I took over from Sam in 2018, and we changed a bunch of things in 2018, and we made it bigger, and we offered 100 companies. If they didn't get into Y Combinator, which we hoped as many would choose to participate in our Y Combinator core program, we made available 100 $10,000 grants for no equity. It's a funnel for the world. It's a funnel for innovation for the world. Absolutely, there's self-interest involved. No question. We hope that we'll get lots of great companies to apply to Y Combinator. They still have to apply to Y Combinator, and they still have to get into Y Combinator. Absolutely, that's great. But we think it's part of our goal to maximize the amount of entrepreneurship and innovation there is everywhere in the world, because we think pretty clearly on balance that's great for economies, it's great for societies, and it's great overall for the people involved.
As an alumnus, you must be excited about the soon-to-open campus of INSEAD here. Did INSEAD, looking back now over the time that you spent in Y Combinator and in investing in companies, what influence did INSEAD have when you look back? Was it instrumental? Does it set you somehow on that track?
Absolutely. I took my first course in entrepreneurship in INSEAD, and 3 of my colleagues and I decided to start a company which was our project in 1992. It was going to be a worldwide shopping network where you could get anything you want anywhere in the world. Sounds brilliant, right? The only problem was the infrastructure wasn't ready. There was actually only barely a World Wide Web in 92, 93. Tim Berners-Lee had just begun in 91 to put HTML and HTTP together to create this interface layer on top of the internet that already existed. Mosaic was only just being released. Mosaic, the first multimedia browser that Mark Andreessen and company created in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. Right? This was just beginning. And so we kind of ran into a brick wall. I was like, how do we do this? How do we make this happen? But that inspired me to be an entrepreneur and to play a role in this entrepreneurial ecosystem we were talking about. And so I'd say NCAD played a fundamental role for me.